Alright, so let's get started. Today we're gonna work on the loops as I promised. Let's go open a PyCharm. If it opens. Alright. Alright, so what we do, we just wait for the project to load. We don't care about that. Oh, it happened right here. Okay, so here I'm gonna start a new project. I'm gonna go for File, and when I press or click on File, I'm just gonna go New Project, and I think this is week 6, if I'm not mistaken. And I check my environment, make sure the base interpreter is whatever I need to. If you guys using 2.7, 2.7 is 3.6. I have this Anaconda 3, which is more professional way of doing Python, but let's stick with that. Create, opening the new windows, and I'm ready to go. Okay, so this is I closed the previous one, and go here and open that. Here we go, ready to go, full screen. I'm gonna go week 6, new Python file, and let's call this main as usual. And here we go. Is the size okay? You guys can see, or yeah, more or less. Alright, so let me make this a little bit bigger just in case anyway. So in order to do that, make this smaller. I'm just gonna go to File and gonna go to Setting, and here I'm just gonna go to Editor, I guess, General or Font. No, let's go to the font, and here make this 40 for now, because once you guys see it on the back of the class. Here we go. So let's start with some comments. So today we're gonna cover repetition structure. Alright, I have a typo. Let's fix that. That's how you fix typo here. And there are two types, two general types. One is what? Condition control. Which also has 3 sub branch. Let's go. One of them is while loop. The other one is do while, and the third one is do unit. So if you recall, we've gone through that. So while loop, we check the condition, then repeats whatever it's inside their scopes, and do while is do the statements or do the task first, then check the condition. So the order of these two is reversed. So in order to go through this loop, the condition has to be true, and also let me just organize that. And also what? It checks the condition first. So check the condition. If it's true, then repeats the task based on the condition. Do while it's, let's just go paste it, a little bit of lazy work. Still, the condition has to be true, but do the task first, then check the condition. So this is a difference between these two. So interesting enough, some languages like Java, they have separate style for those two. So there is a while, you check the condition, do the task, and there's a do while. So you write do the task, then check the condition. Some languages, they don't have one. So you're gonna force while loop to act as a do while. I'll teach you how. So Python is one of it. And do unit is basically check the condition first, and what else? And if the condition has to be false in order to go through the task, right? So this is the 3 type, which is you guys gotta know the differences. It shows up on your exams and all that. So this is the important things to know. The second big category is basically called account control, and the difference between these two is this one we don't know how many times we're gonna repeat something. Doesn't mean it's infinite, it's just a number we don't know. And this one we exactly know how many times, or we want to set it to the certain numbers. So this is also famous as a for loop, and that's pretty much it. We're gonna talk about it in the code now. Let's start. How do I write with while? So we're gonna start with this, which is more important and it's a little bit more tricky to work with. For loop is really simple. So how do I do while loop? So you write while in Python, you write your condition, and then what you do is basically you write your statement. It's exactly like if statement, but instead of if, you just write while, and you are done. So let's write the basic code with this and see how that works. So I'm gonna start with the module because I'm gonna make some example. I'm just gonna do it in the module form. So I'm gonna define the module, call it temperature check. Let's say I have this technician have linked this software to check some thermostat or check the temperature, and if it's higher than a certain temperature, it has to reduce the temperature. If it's not, you just let it be and such. So let's see what I mean by that. We're gonna define an input from the user. So we're gonna ask the technician, okay, give me a float number, call that input, and just enter the substance. So we're gonna print the apostrophe. So we're using the backslash, if you recall. Temperature, if I'm not mistaken. I did the typo. Yep, that's why this lovely interpreter has this corrections. I think that is also wrong, right? Substance, here we go. So wait for the copy to kick in. All right, and also I want to go to the new line right there. So this is what it is. I'm asking the user, give me the temperature of a substance, whatever it is. And now we're gonna define something here as a global variable, so we know how to do that now. We are going to call that max temperature. So we have a max limit for that temperature of a substance. I'm gonna do that global variable, a global constant, let's say. Was part of your exam, if you recall, and that's 40 degrees. So here, since this is global, you have access to that inside your module here. So what you're gonna do is now you're gonna write while the temperature is greater than your max temperature, which is I have. So the input temperature could be 20, 30, 40, 50, anything. So as far as the temperature is greater than max temperature, first of all, let's print some warnings. So we're going to say, hey, the temperature temp is hot, it's too hot, and turn down the thermostat down, but we tell the technician what to do, and wait. That's it. So then what I'm gonna do, I am going to repeat and ask. I'm gonna walk you through it step by step what happened here. So we repeat again, enter the substance temperature. Let's put again. I'll just put that again for the user to can be differentiate between these two, but it's pretty much the same task I'm asking. All right. So now this is the last thing I'm doing in the loop. What happens here is I'll check the temperature. If it's greater than 40 degrees, I tell them, oh, it's too hot, turn on the thermostat, wait. Then the user doesn't know the max temperature is 40, but you're gonna tell them to wait and turn on the thermostat. Then let's say it was 60, it turns to 50 again. Then they enter 50 now, we go up again, check the condition, say, oh, it's not still 40. So we tell them again, too hot, go a little bit more. And if we keep doing it, we keep asking till we get less than 40, which then the condition won't be right and won't be true. Then we leave this loop here. So how do we leave it? So we're just gonna go back. So what it is like exactly like if statement, but just keep repeating till this condition not true. The point here is when you do while loop, if you don't have any update for that condition, that never change. So you're gonna keep repeating forever. This is the most common mistake or problem a programmer has, and they forgot to update that temperature. You never ask for it, just check the same thing, and it's always true, and you always stuck into that loop. You never leave. So it's called an internal loop. It's the most common thing you might get in when you're dealing with a loop. All right, so let's say I'm done. So here I go back here and then tell the user the temp is acceptable. So that means when I'm leaving the loop, the temperature is less than 40 for sure. Otherwise, I won't leave this loop. This is actually a technique you're going to learn later that you use to force the user to give you a certain input you want. Let's say you ask the user put the number between 13 and 30. There's a range. The user just put whatever they want to, and you say, hey, 13 and 30. You see all of those messages? You put wrong numbers and keep asking you till they get the right input. They're using the loop. Till the input is right, as soon as it's right, they stop asking you. So that's what it is. It's called an input validation loop. We get to that. It's a whole session we're going to work on. But it's an important task. We're just going to give. So check in again in 15 minutes. So let's try it out. See how that loop works. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go all the way back and call my module, which is a temp check, right? So this is a combination of whatever we learned so far. So we pile on it as we go. So I'm going to run this and see how that works. Here we go, run. Here we go. So where am I right now? Right now, I am here asking for the temperature. So let's put 70. No, let's go with something low first. So 30. If you put 30, the condition here does not meet. So 30 is not less than 40, right? So the 40 is max. So you said 30, you asked, is 30 greater than 40? The answer is no or false. Therefore, you're not gonna do none of these that inside the loop. So you're just gonna skip through it. It's exactly like if statement in this case. And then you're just gonna say acceptable and check in 15 minutes. Here we go. So you never see any messages because the condition never met. However, let's go, and this time let's put 80, right? So this one is condition met, and it tells me the message, and it says turn on the thermostat and wait, and again ask me for the thing. So right now I'm here. So I check the temp, it is true, so you're gonna do these two messages, and what are you gonna do? Ask for temp again. So that's again right here that actually differentiate this one with the top one. So now wait for the temp to get it. So that's your update for your condition. What are you gonna do? Let's put like 70 now. I put it down, it was 80, now it's 70, and 70 is 70 is not still less than 40, so we keep repeating again. So as sorry, I just punched something wrong. Let's run it again. So $70. What did I do? All right, 70, too hot. 60, too hot. 65, too hot. Whatever you put, you don't know how many times. Could be 40. Why not? Here we go. So now it's acceptable. We leave them. This is called a condition control. There is a condition. It has to be met. This temperature has to get to the 40 and below in order to let that user go. Okay. I think. So now let's write another one. Get the idea. We're gonna write the game. Call it guessing game. I have a number. The user doesn't know. Let's say I have 15. And the user has to guess that number. There is 3 conditions to that. There is one that the user right away guess that number and they win the game. And there is a condition that they go either higher or lower. So every single condition, if it's go higher, I tell them it's too high, guess something lower. And if they go lower, I gotta tell them it's too low, guess something higher. So I'm gonna push them to guess that number. But the funny thing is who win anyway, like everyone can win. Whoever gets that number faster will be the winner. So I'm gonna count how many times you guess. Alright? So let's do that, see how that works. We don't know how many times you're gonna guess. So that tells me I need a loop. Keep asking till you get the right number. So this is the same concept I did. Now I want to count how many times. So let's define another module. Call that, let's call it num game or number game, whatever you want to call it. And don't forget the parentheses. That was part of your exam too. You can miss it. There we go. So let's say we have a guess number. Guess num. And let's put it 7. Whatever number you want. You can also ask the user to have a number to guess, but this is integrated into the game. We're gonna have a guess number that the user have to guess. So this is a number. User has to guess in order to win the game, right? So that's the idea. So I'm going to define another variable called num, and this is an integer. This is the number user guess. So we're going to ask, guess a number. So this is a tricky part. There is a condition. If they get the number exact, we don't need to repeat anything, right? There's a possibility. It's higher, lower, and such. We want to repeat this task till the user get the number they have to guess. So as soon as that, as much as that the user didn't guess that number, we're gonna keep asking. So that's the idea. So we're gonna say while the num, which is the input number, is not equal to guess number. So we said, okay, if they are the same, the game is over anyway. I don't need to ask anything else. But as If it's not the same, keep asking. All right, so as if this is true, which is the number from the user, is not equal to the number I'm setting, keep doing it. It's either higher or lower now. Okay, so now I'm gonna go learn whatever. So now I'm gonna check two conditions. Either the guess number is higher or the guess number is lower. All right, let's put an input number is higher than guess number. Let's be accurate. And the input number all right, so how do I do that? You guys know the answer. So every time that I'm not set, I'm gonna check for two conditions. One is either the number is bigger than guess number or smaller than guess number. So for that, what should I use? Does anyone can guess? No, if statement. So we said, okay, now when the number is not equal to guess number, so we can say if the number is greater than, so this is one of the condition, guess number. If you get this, you're pretty much okay. Print the number is too high, and we ask the user to again guess a number. Else, or you can write LF if you want to see what it is, but we don't need it, right? So either the number is the same, which is you don't enter the loop and the game is over. If you do enter the loop, which is here, means the number are not the same. So if not the same, is either greater or not greater. So here saying, okay, if the number as the input is greater than the guess number, tell the user is too high, and guess another number. Right? Else means what? The number is less than guess number, right? Or let's say for you, for clarity, just write it for you. In that case, we're gonna print Alright, so what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna do that. This is wasting my memory. I'm gonna check two conditions for no reason. If the number is greater than guess number, is never gonna be the less than. So this is a waste of memory, waste of code. This is not a smart way of coding. So I'm just gonna change that to else. So this will be alternative to all this decisions. So either is greater or is not greater, which is basically, I should comment that. I'm gonna say in that case, number is less than guess number, right? So I wanna make sure you understand what's going on. So far, I'm gonna make this complicated, so make sure you understand it. So far I have the guess. So every time I ask a number, let's say user put 9. If they put 7, right? So the user put 7 here. What would happen is you check the condition. This is not met. It says if 7 is not equal 7, which is the guess number was 7, then you never go through this loop at all. So this is for the time that the condition is true. So if it's exactly the input, we're just gonna print here. So let's see how that works exactly. Let's run it. Let me go call the module. Okay, so this guy goes, this comment gonna go here to make it more proper. So here we go. So let's run and see everything's fine, then we continue. So we're gonna call the num game here. Pay attention to the index, right? The index is everything. You see, it's get complicated. You have to define a module. You have this index here. Then you do these inside the module. This is your while. While has another index. All the things happens in the while is indexed in. So these two if else happens inside the while. And guess what? There's another index for if here. So it's just indentation as we go. So you've got to pay attention. That's the most common problem a new programmer has in Python. So print here. Where do I print? Outside of the loop. So when I'm done with the loop, definitely I have the answer. And go all the way back and call my module num game. And let's test it out. See what it is. Alright, because the previous one running, so I'm going to stop all and run it again. Alright, so here we go. That's a previous one. Let's put something to jump, 30. And here we go. So this is the thermostat one, so we skip that. Let's go and undo the temp check, because I don't want to keep running that. It messed up my output here. I want to show you stuff like it's confusing a little. So I'm going to run it again. Here we go. So as we guess a number, I have no idea it's 7. Let's guess 15. Right? Valid guess. So if we get the number here, that's a message I see here. Then I'll go check the condition. 15 is not equal 7. So that is true. We get in. So first thing we're going to check is this. So 15 is greater than number, guess number. So you enter here, you're going to show the number is too high and ask the user to guess another one. Let's say, so far let's do that. Here we go. So it says number is too high, guess another one. This time, so we know it's too high, let's do 10. 10 still higher than 7. So what it is, when you put 10, num become 10 now instead of 15. Do I go through this? No, because it's if and else. Either you go through this or that one. So you skip that. Do I go print that one? No. Every time you're done with the loop, you go up and check the condition. If it's true, you keep doing it. If it's not true, then you skip it, right? So I'm going to go all the way up here, check again. So is that 10 not equal 7? Yes. So again, check that here. So let's do that, and you see it gives me still too high. Let's say I go crazy and I put 3 now. It's too high. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's 1. So let's put 3. So in 3, we go up again and check this is not equal. So we check that. This is not true. So the num now is less than guess number. So we skip this if. It goes directly to the else. And it says, okay, the number is too low. And ask again. And in this case, so it gives me the number is too low. Guess another. So now let's say 4. Same procedure. 5. It keep asking me, let's go 8. Oh, I think I put 2 enter. Yeah. So that's another problem. Let's just go again. So let's go. Unless you put 7, which is done. So it never goes to that loop to check left or right. Let's see. So now let's do this. I want to find out how many times you enter the numbers. Let's make our game complicated now. So we know it's working. I want to make it complicated. So the idea is, I want to find out how many times I've gone through this loop. Right? Could be none. Could be none. So outside of this loop, I am going to add something called counter and set it to 0. So counter is initially 0. Now every time I go to the loop, I check the condition here. That's the last line of the loop. I am going to do this. I'm gonna go counter equals to counter plus 1. So every time, if the counter is 0, you check the condition, you never go through the loop. You just leave and the counter would be 0. If I go through the loop, it's gonna run all of them, and at the end of the line, you're gonna add 1 to the counter. And then you check the condition. If it's true, you go through again, add another 1. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the counter is a variable with a value of 0, and every time you go through the loop, you add 1 to it. Okay, so let's see how that works. That means when I'm going out here, when I'm done with the loop, I can simply go print. It took you only, let me insulting hello, counter time to guess. So what I'm doing is the same procedure. I'm just counting how many times, because this is a condition control, people. I don't know how many times. It's a finite number for sure, but I'm gonna keep track things to find out, right? User can guess it in 1 shot, 0 shot, 10 shot, and such. All right. So let's run it again. All right. So let's go with, I don't know, give me a number. 10, 8, 7. All right. So you see my counter doesn't work, right? So it should show me 3. I'm gonna go find out why. I define the counter outside of the while loop. Means whatever happened inside the loop is not updated. So I'm gonna take this guy. Now wait up. All right, who can tell me what's the problem there? I find the problem. So here I get 0. That tells me why. So I define the counter here, initially 0, means I never update that one, right? So it's 0, gone through the loops, you never get updated. So the problem would be here. Who can tell me what's the problem? This is a, what's that? Is not right? It is right. There is a, what's the most common mistake people do in Python? There's what? Indentation. That's the problem. Look at that. Where is this counter is in the else. So if you don't go to the else, you don't count it. So this is not the right position for it. That's it. That's the only problem we have. So I tell you, it's your eyes tricks you a lot. Here we go. So let's try it out. So now let's go 10, too high, 8, and 7. We guess 2 times, not include the last one, right? Because 7, you never go to the loops. So that tells me what? That's also part of the guess. What I'm gonna do, I am going to either start my counter from 1, because if you don't go through the loop, you guessed it properly, and that's a guess. So the minimum guess is 1, right? So I can start from 1 or add it up, or when I'm printing it, we can actually add 1 to it. Up to you. So in that case, let's go try it again. Let's go 15, 3, 5, 7. So 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it only takes 4 times. So now we have a game counter. Tells you how many times. So we can play. You get 4. I get 2. I'll win. So if you notice, let's do something more interesting and then we take a break. We add a little bit more to this. Maybe make things complicated, but I want to show you complicated. Then when you do your labs and assignments, you have an easier time. So that's my goal, because you can ask questions if you want. Now let's do this. I am going to ask user, would you like to play again? Right? So right now, every time I want to play, I'm going to run the code again. I'm going to ask user, okay, there's 2 players, how many players they have? And then I'm going to ask user, would you like to continue? If you continue, say yes. If it's no, please no. Let's do that. So for that, this is going to be a while inside a while. So I'm going to have start the game. Before I start, I'm going to define something called a confirm and set that to y. So as far as this is yes, we're going to keep playing the game. If it's no, we're going to stop playing the game. Then here, I am asking for these numbers, right? Then before I start to the loop, I am going to, maybe I should do this. So I'm going to write while the confirm is equals to y. So that's my condition. Do the whole thing as I have. So I simply gonna go take all the thing after right here, right, and press tab on my keyboard. So I'm gonna shift everything inside that loop. So I'm telling you, as far as you have to confirm y, do whatever we did. So this is all that. If that's confusing for you, it's good to create a module, put that in the module, and say play games and just go do that as well. We can do this as well. Let's finish this one, then I'll tell you the alternative. So here I'm playing the game, and when I'm finding how many times you did the game, I'm asking the user, so we're gonna have the confirm updated, because if you don't update, that would be infinite loop. I'm gonna ask confirm input. If you like to continue, play another game. Type for now y. Otherwise, type something like that. So what happens here, this is my game. So I have a confirm already set to yes, so we're gonna do this once. So that's like a do while in a sense. So no matter what, we're gonna do this once, and then we're gonna play our game, which is we had it before up to here, find how many times you guess. Then I ask the user, would you like to play another game? If they say yes, so we confirm would be y. If they say no, confirm would be n. Then you go all the way back and check the condition of this loop. If it's a yes, you're gonna do the game again. If it's no, you're just gonna skip the whole thing. And here, right after that, I am going to say, so here I'm gonna go one. Okay, I think I am gonna print and say the game is over. See, that's how programming works. You start with the basic, you make it bigger, better, more efficient. That's why all those versions and all those improvement and updates come along, right? So let's run that again. All right, guess a number. Let's go 10 and 7. Let's say I get it in 2 shots. So you got it. Good job. It only takes you 2 guesses. Now it asks me if you'd like to play another game, press yes or no. So we're gonna say Y and again start over. So let's this time do 8, 9, 3, 5, 7, and this time only take 2 times, and as soon as I say end, it just stopped. The game is over. So there is one loop inside another. So that's a concept, right? This loop, play the games, ask as many as it is, and there's big one that just asks the user, would you like to continue? If they say yes, then run the whole thing again, and then ask again, and write the whole thing again. As far as they say no, this stops. So this is one inside another. Okay, so let's take a break, come back, and then we continue. Any questions? What's up?
As you first described why.
So you guys got the idea of the condition control now. Now let's go through count control. All right, so what is a count control? So the count control is we know the number of time we are going to repeat a group of tasks, right? So if you realize we've gone through the while loop, which is we don't know what it is, and we have different kind of it. So it was do while do unit, but basically the difference between do while and while was to do while you do, then you check the condition, then repeats, and the while is you check the condition and repeats that. So sometimes you can use both at the same time. The way it is, you use while. So if you don't know what to use, always go with while. You can manipulate while to work as a do while. So you set the condition right before you're checking the condition. So in that case, you just go into it no matter what once before you update it. So now let's go talk about count control and see what that is and such. So that one is well known as something called a for loop. So the keyword for it obviously is for, and we're gonna do this. Writing for is really advanced in Python. In many languages, there are 3 things you have to consider. One is your initial number you start with, the condition, and like the update. In Python, you don't need to do none of it. It's really simple. It's really, we call it advanced for loop. So we're gonna learn that. So we're gonna go for. So this is a keyword, and we're gonna define the counter, and we're gonna go in, and we're gonna create the list. Just want to give you the sense of it at the beginning. And we're gonna print count. So let's say I have a list here. This is called a list. In some programming they call it array. In Python they call it list. We're gonna go through this fully, but I just want to throw that there. Let's say I have a list of number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The list is a group of the variables all together. It's like an exact list, right? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and what it does, it says, okay, we define a dummy variable count, and every time I'm gonna go, okay, so first time I'm gonna go print that count. So the first time count would be 1, the next time count would be 2, and next time count would be 3, and next time count would be 4 and 5. So in that case, I'm gonna print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So going through the list as well. Oh, let me just comment that one, the previous section. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is one way of doing it. You create a list. Every time the 4 goes, take 1, go to the next, go to the next, and go to the next. You can print it, you can add it. Let's say I want to add those together. What should I do? Let's say I define a variable sum, and every time I go through this, I'm gonna go sum equals to count, or sum plus count. So what it is, the first time sum is 0, we're gonna get the count, which is 1, added to sum. So sum become 1. We repeat next time, count would be 2. We add 2 to the sum, which is 1 now, become 3, and we keep repeating it. So in that case, your sum would be what? So when I'm done leaving this loop, my sum would be easily 5 plus 4 is 9, 9 plus 3 is 12, 12 plus 2, 14, plus 1, 15 together. So you see, in that case, I'm adding those numbers. At the end of the day, I have 15. So this is a list I'm going through. We work on this in detail. So I just want to tell you what you can do it for. We're going to have the list. There's a many manipulation you can do with a list or array and such. There's another session for that. But let's go. Let's say I want to print something 5 times. What should I do? Or I want to have a message 10 times or 100 times. The example I start with. So we're going to write 4. And this time, let's say I have a I. So you need a dummy variable. So every time work has a counter for you. You can call it I, you can call it count. I is a short form of incrementation. Basically, it increments, it goes up, right? So we're gonna go for I in range. So range is the function or module that you can use to get things done. 5. So what that is every time, so range generates, guess what, a range of numbers or a list of numbers from 0 to 5. What I mean by that is, let's say instead of writing this, you can go 0. Okay, wait. So you can go 0. So that's what it does. But the difference is this. You gotta pay attention. So it generates a list that the 4 can go inside and do it. Let's say if you want to create the list from 0 to 100, you can just easily put 100 here and don't write from 0 to 100. Note that this is the key. The way I write it mathematically means the 0 itself included, but the 5 is not. So if you go through this, you're going to have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, not 5. So let's print I inside this loop and see what happens. So if I print I will see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. Let me just have a separator because that one is kind of mixed up with the other one. So let me just have a line here. I'm just going to print the line that kind of separate these two together. Here we go. So you see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you wonder why from 0, later on you're going to learn lots of things. There's a index which goes through the list, and that index always starts from 0. If you don't know what I meant, wait for it, we'll learn. But there's a benefit to starting from 0. Okay, so if I put 100 here, guess what? If I run it, I should see from 0 to 99. Let's try that. Boom. It's all the way up. Right? 0 all the way to 9. So this is range. Do I need to print that number? Not really. That means I do this 100 times. So 0 to 99 is just you repeating this loop 100 times. So instead of I'm just doing comment that one and just say print like hello, I'm printing the hello 100 times. Let's go with something simple, 5. So that is you printing hello or a task or whatever it is in this loop 5 times. So you can use this counter. See, this is kind of a counter, isn't it? It tells you how many times it goes. Start every time it picks that number and see what it is. You can use that, or you don't need to. You just want to do the task with no I, and that shows you 5 hellos. Here we go. Here is 5. So guess what? Instead of writing 5 times, you can do this. Maybe 5 is not a good number, but how about 1,000? Right? So, sir, I don't want to start from 0. I want to make I want to start from 1 to 9 or 5 to 7. Can I do that? Sure. So this is when you don't write anything. That's automatically start from 0. You can write your range like that. So you can go for I in range of, let's say, 1 to 6. So let's say you guys got the idea what it is. So if I print I, what would I see in my console? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 is not included. So whatever you write in the range, the beginning of it is included, the end of it is not. So in that case, if I run it, here we go. So you get 1 to 5. If you put that 2 to, I don't know, 9, so you start from 2, go all the way up to 8. Right? Okay. Question, can I not do that? I want to go all even numbers. Can I go 2, 4, 6, 8? Let's say I want to write the all even numbers from 10 to 20 in a loop. So let's do that. So we're gonna go okay for I in range. Let me just have that separator because the console would be messy, so it kind of bring the distinguish between those things. So we're gonna go. Let's say we want to start from 10. So 10 is included. We all gonna go to 21, right? Because 20, we want the 20. And so now that's the thing. You can tell by default incrementation is 1. So we add 1. You can say more than 1. So you can do 2. There's a third input to this. So that is your incrementation. If you don't tell that, it assumes 1, which is the basic predefined incrementation. So in that case, if you print I, you will see, here we go. So 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Right? So if I put if I put 10 here, that would be just gonna see 2 numbers, 10 and 20. So you tell them how to increment that list. Generate the range of numbers, you tell them how to pick, how often to take, from where to where is all in your control with using the range function. Okay? Alright, so let's say I want to go, how about I want to go backwards? Can I do that? I want to go from 10 to 0 backwards. Let's do that. So let's have my separator. Any ideas? So I know I have to start with 4. So 4i in range of, how do I write my range? So I said I want to start from 10. That's my start point. To 0. So that's the wrong move right away, because the second one is not included. Right? So look at this. You did 10 to 21. Why you did 21? Because 20, you want to include 20, and you know it goes up to 21. It's the same thing. If you put 0, it goes up to 0. So we should put -1, right? So we go backward 10, 9, 8 all the way. If you get 0, you get up to 1. If you put -1, you go up to 0. These are the good questions for your next exam, right? So how do I decrement now? Do I put 1? Let's put 1, see what happens. Let's say one of the things you guys gonna realize, don't think that much. Try it. It's either give you an error or it doesn't show. Like, see what you generate. Print is a good thing. Like, I don't know. I think I said 1. That's what I think. You run it. It doesn't show me anything. So this is incrementation. Means you're adding 1. So you start from 10. You're adding 1. Would be 11. 11 is not in the range. You're not printing anything. So how can I decrement or go down? -1. So you're adding -1. So you increment -1, which is basically decrementation. So you just go down. Here we go. So now we have our 10 to 0 clean.
If we don't put anything, we can do -1.
Well, by default, let's see. Nothing. It has. It's always incrementation default is +1. So if you don't write it, if I don't write that also, that means start from 0 to 10. So there's a defined value to this. If you don't mention, can I go -2? Yeah, sure. So if you do -2, it would be 10, 8, all the even numbers from 10 to 0, right? Try it out, play around to get the idea. All right, let's see. Let's see if you guys got the idea or not. One more. If you get all of it, this is easy, really. While loop is more complicated, right? But it's handy also. So for I, if I put this, let's say range 1, 2, 12. So what do I see as output? You said 1? Alright, that's 1. So you print the 1, the next one is 12, and 12 is not included. So be careful with that. Alright, so for 4, that's pretty much okay. So that helps you repeat something. Basically, you're going to use those in your, you can read the message, you can put anything with that number. So in this case, you just go through this once. If you want to, whatever you put here, it happens once. So you have a loop, you know how many times, you can print this. Let's make a use of this. I am going to actually stop the code here. I'm going to go to Raptors, create a couple of codes, one of them which I'm going to come back here and code it up. Okay, so Raptors is a little bit tricky.